All right, welcome back everyone to our water fluoridation investigation. So many of you have been asking me if I ever got a response back from Henrico County. So those of you who are just joining me, a few days ago, I gave a good old Henrico County a call and asked them again who has the authority to discontinue water fluoridation. So people wanted to know, well, did I get a response back by the end of the day? Well, kind of. I got a response back, but they didn't actually answer the question. Surprise, surprise. They haven't been answering this question for a year. I've been asking the County of Henrico who has the authority to discontinue water fluoridation for over a year now. I've been asking by phone, I've been asking by email, I've been asking in person, I've been asking on Facebook, you name it, I've tried it, right? Now, why am I asking this? Because in the state of Virginia, we do not have a law forcing waterworks to add fluoride. It's left up to the local government. And if you are going to put fluoride in the drinking water, the precedent has been set. I think that's going to change shortly, but the precedent has been set that you can do so. You just need an ordinance to do this, right? This is a legislative action. This is not an administrative action. So let me show you, I'll tell you what, I'm going to remind you the question that I asked to Henrico, and then I'll show you their boilerplate response to my question. Now, again, believe it or not, we are making progress, because a year ago, when I said who has decision-making authority as far as water fluoridation goes, who has the authority to discontinue this water fluoridation program, they said, well, VDH requires us. VDH is in charge. We're not allowed to make the decision one way or the other. It's up to VDH. Well, finally, after a year of showing them the Virginia Administrative Code and the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act and speaking in person and emailing, they have stopped saying that. But what they say is, well, VDH is the regulatory agency, as if that means anything, which it does not. Okay, but let me show you again what I have emailed and the response back. For those of you who are just joining me. So anyway, let's get straight into it. Here we go. Again. Okay, guys, so here's the exchange. So this is going to be from me to Henrico. Again, we have my question. Who in the county of Henrico, Virginia, has the authority to discontinue the water fluoridation program? Thank you, Sarah. This was the response from the county. So from Henrico to Sarah. Sarah, this is the response I received from our FOIA officer. And then they say, in response to your questions, Henrico County follows the guidance from the Virginia Department of Health, the State Board of Health, and the State Health Commissioner. They go on to say, you may wish to contact VDH for information about the benefits of fluoride and related studies. And then he ends it by saying, Henrico will continue to take guidance from VDH. Henrico maintains a license to operate the water treatment facility and use waterworks chemicals through VDH. The license number is VA 4087125. Okay. This was my response back from Sarah to Henrico. Thank you for trying. However, this does not answer my question. All right here. It is concerning to me that I have looked into at least 20 cities, counties, and towns in Virginia, and they all know who has the authority to discontinue their water fluoridation program, but not Henrico County. Why is that? In the cities that I have looked into, it is the city council who has the authority to discontinue the water fluoridation program. The cities know who is in charge because there's an ordinance. The same goes for the towns and even the counties, which means that the town council and the board of supervisors takes responsibility. Everyone knows who is responsible and in charge all over Virginia, but not in Henrico, Virginia. This is a serious problem. Henrico County has no ordinance, which means that there is no one in Henrico who has the legal authority to put hydrofluorosilicic acid into the community drinking water. Furthermore, the legal landscape has changed due to Loper Bright Enterprises versus Ramondo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. This is the Chevron deference, okay? The National Toxicology Program report, as well as the federal ruling against the EPA in 2024, which means that it is extremely risky for any city, town, or county to put fluoride in their public drinking water, which is why many are working on passing state laws and local ordinances to stop. Municipalities don't want to risk a class action lawsuit. Folks are organizing, and those who jumped off the fluoride bandwagon are going to weather the storm better than those such as Henrico who dig their heels in. 2 states have passed laws banning fluoridation, and more are on the way, and there are many localities which have passed ordinances banning fluoridation. Folks have come to realize that informed consent is necessary for a civil society. I appreciate that you tried to get a legitimate response. Henrico should come clean and stop fluoridating the water, because what is currently going on in Henrico is putting us in jeopardy. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, Sarah. And then I go on to say, P.S. I have attached a few links and excerpts that you may find interesting. This is the first one, excerpt. Mass medication. Many European authorities and citizens view fluoridation as a form of mass medication, which is widely rejected on the continent. Unlike other water treatments, such as chlorination, which is done to treat the water itself, fluoride is added to treat people drinking it. This raises serious ethical concerns about informed consent. Individual choice. The principle of individual autonomy and freedom of choice is highly valued in many European nations. For opponents, fluoridation removes the ability for individuals to choose what they consume and whether to receive this preventative medicine. For example, in 1973, Dutch Supreme Court decision ruled there was no legal basis for water fluoridation, citing that people should not be forced to consume a substance they do not want. And so that was the end of this particular email exchange. I want to show you one more thing that I've started to put together a legal document outlining how what Henrico was doing is likely illegal. So under Virginia Code 15.2, so we're right here, guys. Under Virginia Code 15.2-1425 and 15.2-1427, any county action of general and continuing effect, especially one that affects public health or alters the composition of the public water supply, must be authorized by a duly enacted ordinance or resolution adopted in a public meeting with a recorded vote. Henrico County has no such ordinance authorizing water fluoridation. All right, so that was the exchange. Surprise, surprise. But like I said, believe it or not, we're making progress because a year ago they said, well, VDH is forcing us to put fluoride in the drinking water. We did not make the choice, we did not make this decision. VDH is making the decision and they're forcing us, and we're just doing what we're told. Now, what they're saying is, well, VDH is the regulatory authority, which is actually a meaningless statement in in this particular context. So, I think anyone can understand, intuitively speaking, if you were going to put drugs in the public drinking water in America, at bare minimum, you have to have a vote. There must be an ordinance or a state law, okay? This is a public health measure, so it must actually promote public health, and we'll tackle that at a later time. So you must have a vote, okay? This is what is called a legislative action, not an administrative action, meaning that if Henrico would like to have fluoride in the drinking water, then you must have the Board of Supervisors take a vote. This is not an administrative action, meaning you cannot have the DPU director make the decision. You cannot have the county manager make the decision. You cannot have the waterworks operators making this decision. And again, the legal landscape has changed already. According to the CDC, I counted 525 waterworks in the state of Virginia that are listed as not adding fluoride to their drinking water, okay? We have the National Toxicology Program, HHS's National Toxicology Program, that says that this is a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard. We have the CDC saying, dating back since 1999, that the benefits of fluoride are topical. Okay, so in the beginning, people thought that in order to have any sort of benefits from fluoride, you had to ingest it. But they since realized what the biological mechanisms are, and they realize that it's topical, which is why we brush our teeth with fluoride, right? It's topical. So the CDC acknowledges that the benefits of fluoride from fluoride use is topical, okay? We also have the CDC and VDH saying that those under, I believe, the age of 8, if you want to avoid harm to their teeth, they should not consume fluoridated water, okay? So you have that. Again, that's evidence of harm. We have the Public Health Service saying that it causes cataracts to the eyes, that it damages your thyroid, that it causes bone problems. It is a neurotoxin. You know, that was what was said. HHS's National Toxicology Program report says that this is a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard. You have the EPA under oath saying, we absolutely acknowledge that at 1.5 parts per million, that without a question, it is a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard, and that we must apply at least a margin of safety of 10, which would mean that there shouldn't be any more fluoride in the water than 0.15, and that's if you apply the bare minimum margin of safety. You know, this is artificial fluoride that's being added to the water, hydrofluorosilicic acid. So there is no need. So ask yourself, what are the benefits of ingesting fluoride? CDC says the benefits are not there. The evidence is not statistically significant, meaning that there is no justification to swallowing fluoride, okay? That the benefits of fluoride are topical, so you can use toothpaste and mouthwashes and fluoride treatments and so forth, where you do not need to ingest it. We know that there's a whole laundry list of adverse events, so ask yourself, what is the justification? If the county of Henrico is going to put fluoride in the drinking water, One, you must have an ordinance. And two, there must be a justification. It must promote public health. Okay? And this can't be like, oh, well, if it helps 51% but harms 50%, therefore the risks outweigh the benefits. Medicine doesn't work like that. We are not in the dark ages. We can have individualized medicine. Everyone's needs are different. Everyone's iodine needs are different. Everybody's calcium needs are different. Everyone's protein needs are different. Why do you think that when it comes to hydrofluorosilicic acid, this is a chemical, it's a waste product, it's an additive, it's an unapproved drug. It is not it is not cleaned up to pharmaceutical grade. There is no justification, which is why so many localities are getting it out of their water because they see the writing on the wall, thanks to the National Toxicology Program, thanks to the lawsuit against the EPA, thanks to the Loper Bright case. People see that this is gonna be a problem, okay? Especially that Loper Bright case is a game changer, because in the past, people would say, oh, but the authority told me to do it, and the judge would say, well, if that's what the code says, and they wouldn't look at the science. Now they're going to look at the science. So that's going to be a problem for the different localities that continue to add it into the water. I'm telling you, there's going to be lawsuits for the next 30 years. I don't think there's going to be much of a grace period. Everyone knows what's going on now. And according to the National Toxicology Program, they say this is a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard, and Henrico County is supposed to yield to the National Toxicology Program, okay? So they've already said this is bad stuff, which means that Henrico, again, should be looking at them and saying, okay, they've said that this is a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard to humans. So, we're going to get this out of the water because we can't intentionally cause brain damage in people. It reduces your IQ, right? So this isn't debatable at this point. To put this in perspective, there's now more evidence that fluoride is a neurotoxin than there is with lead. Okay, so there was less evidence with lead, and we got rid of that, than there is with fluoride. So here's the evidence with lead, here's the evidence with fluoride. So ask yourself, with all this mountain of evidence, what is the justification? The onus shouldn't be on me to prove that it's harmful to everyone's brains and thyroid and bones. The onus should have been on the county of Henrico to ensure that it's safe before ever putting it in the drinking water. Well, that ship has sailed. They've done it. And I think it would behoove them to get it out now and to set an example for the surrounding counties and cities, right? I mean, gosh, I think it would make everyone look up to Henrico, and we would look like the heroes because it would be a domino effect. Our water systems are intertwined with Richmond and in Chesterfield. So if we got it out of our drinking water, it really would be a motivating factor for them to get it out of their drinking water. And boy, do I know Richmond wants it out of the water. Those poor waterworks over there, they got so damaged. I mean, when they tested their urine, the levels of fluoride in their system was through the roof. I'm told one individual had a legitimate psychological breakdown after seeing how damaged they were by all of the fluoride that they've been exposed to in Richmond. They've been using a month tank instead of a day tank, which means that when the fluoride overflow happened, instead of, just the amount of fluoride from a day's worth going into the drinking water, over a month's worth went into the drinking water in like 5 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, the amount of harm that this caused to the various people working there as well as the citizens, and they continue to use this month tank. This is absolute gross negligence without a doubt. There's no excuse. There's no justification at this point. So anyway, let's wrap it up. I've got another document that I do want to show you guys. It was a FOIA request that I did to Henrico. It was a bit ridiculous. But yeah, stay tuned. I'll get straight to that video for you guys. Okay, bye. See you next time.